It was said that everything was separate, that you had a body, a mind, a life, and that they all belonged to you. It was believed that your thoughts came from you, and your feelings began and ended with you. But this was only the surface. Beneath it, a far more complex, far more delicate system was at work. You aren't just carrying yourself, you are connected. In an unseen realm, countless traces, frequencies, and consciousnesses that cross paths with you remain active. Experiences, buried emotions, unspoken words, each still touches another part. And this connection isn't a theory, it's quantum entanglement. Not of particles, but in the human realm. Between past and present, between people, between feelings and events, there are invisible yet guiding ties. The reason for certain encounters, the force behind certain repetitions, the fact that some choices feel like yours but aren't, all of this is explained by these connections. Because the mind forgets, but the field doesn't. Emotions fade, but the frequency keeps vibrating. This video exists to reveal how that field operates. Quantum entanglement is no longer just a physics term. It's the invisible software rewriting your story daily. True change starts when you recognize this software, and the moment you do, the whole system begins to shift. If you watch all the way through, you'll see step by step how to master quantum entanglement. And this isn't just about quantum, it's the ultimate guide to reprogramming your subconscious. Sometimes there's a weight you can't explain, a restlessness without cause, a tightness in your chest, a wave from the past you can't name. It's as if something remains unresolved, still moving with you. Even in a new city, a new life, with new people, that same cycle starts again. Different faces, same feelings, different events, same outcomes. And though you think you're moving forward by choice, somewhere it feels like choices are made for you. This repetition you can't understand isn't mental. Logic can't fix it, because the issue lies far beneath thought. Sometimes you enter a room and feel uneasy. You trust someone inexplicably, or feel deep discomfort around a stranger, or sense you've known someone for years before speaking. No words, no touch yet. The connection exists. It happens beyond the physical, from a place you've never seen, but can feel. This link exists outside time. It's not linear, it seems random, but there's always a reason. Because everything has a frequency, and every frequency creates a bond. What you feel often isn't about the present. It's the vibration of an unresolved past bond seeping into now. People think the past is behind them, but the body remembers what the mind forgets, and the energy field never forgets. What hasn't been released stays active, keeps vibrating, keeps shaping, and this vibration pulls you into the past's echo. You call it bad luck, coincidence, fate, but it's the echo of an active frequency, an unresolved bond still making choices for you. Humans only believe what they see, yet what you don't see shapes far more than what you feel. Consciousness sees the result, but decisions are made earlier, at a deeper level. When you ask, "Why does this keep happening to me?" the field is already summoning the same vibration, replaying the same cycle. You don't need to be clever to notice. Just be still. It doesn't shout, it speaks through repetition. Not a sign, but a pattern. Not a message, but an echo. And every echo points back to its center. That center is you, but not just the you of now. It's all of you. The broken, suppressed, forgotten, ignored versions. Not just this life, but perhaps a web woven across countless layers of time. Now you'll start seeing these knots, because what you feel isn't just yours. It echoes through you. And this echo isn't bound by time, because space doesn't work like time. You may think the past happened years ago, but space still vibrates at that moment's frequency. The mind is quick to forget, but space remembers everything. Every feeling you buried, every confrontation you avoided, every memory you thought you'd left behind. It's still active, still connected, still working. And as you live in the present, you are actually being guided by the subtle, silent vibrations drawn from those invisible connections. That's why some emotions don't feel like your own. That's why sometimes it feels like you're watching your life from a distance. That's why sometimes your thoughts don't align with who you are. Because what's vibrating isn't your current awareness, but your unresolved fragments. And at this point, what you're experiencing is called quantum entanglement. Its meaning is this: once a connection is made, separation is an illusion. This principle, defined at the particle level, applies not only to the physical, but also to the emotional, spiritual, and temporal. Because you are not just a body, you are a field, a system, a whole that contains your past, the influence of others, suppressed identities, dreams, fears, and invisible connections. And this whole exists in entanglement with other wholes. Everything you can't see but clearly feel is proof of this entanglement. Entanglement isn't physical, it's frequency-based, and frequency knows no distance. No matter how far you go, if you still have an active connection with someone, with a moment, with a feeling, that connection will pull you back to that point again and again in the present. You may think you've built a new life, but if the field is still tied to the old you, your new life becomes just another version of that old frequency. A new name, but the same story. A new relationship, but the same cycle. A new city, but the same weight. Because the bond hasn't been broken, and everything unbroken recreates itself. This is quantum entanglement, the power of unresolved bonds to shape the present. This isn't just a scientific metaphor, but a vital truth. The field speaks to you not with words, but through repetition, intuition, physical reactions, that inexplicable emptiness in your chest when you wake up, encounters you dismiss as coincidences, a familiar darkness in a stranger's eyes. Each one tells you the field is active, that something remains unresolved, that you're still connected, and as long as you resonate with it, you're still being guided. This guidance is often unconscious. You think you've made a decision, but the decision was already swayed by the field. You want to feel free, but freedom isn't possible without breaking the bond. That's why your efforts feel futile. Affirmations, positive thoughts, motivational speeches, they lift you temporarily, but if the frequency is tuned to the unresolved vibration deep within, the system will pull you back to the old cycle. Because frequency is rooted in the invisible, and if the invisible is still speaking to you, the system will always return there. The issue isn't to suppress or release. The real issue is to recognize that it's still vibrating, because awareness is the first resolution. Whatever you're entangled with, a person, an event, or a past version of yourself, the moment you acknowledge its existence, the field begins to shift. Because the field only stays fixed through resistance. When resistance fades, the vibration starts to dissolve. And as it dissolves, the shape of today changes. The future no longer has to repeat the past, because the field begins to recode itself. At this point, quantum entanglement is no longer an invisible force working against you, but an intelligence working with you. Every time you redefine your frequency, entanglement weakens, the field expands, and your creative power emerges. Because reality isn't a structure outside of you, it's a neutral plane of potential that interacts with your field, and that plane responds to your inner state. Not to what you think, but to what you vibrate. Not what you want, but what you're ready for. You say you want abundance, but if scarcity still lingers in your frequency, the field will only amplify scarcity for you. Because it's a response system, it gives you what you align with, not what you deserve, and this is where conscious creation comes in. Changing your life isn't about tweaking your thoughts. That's just a surface-level mental adjustment. True creation is reshaping your vibrational identity. It's not who you think you are, but who you are as a frequency that shapes your reality. That's why you sometimes say, "I did my best," but it still didn't work, because it's not what you do, but the energy you emit that forms your reality. Reality doesn't speak to you word for word, but wave after wave. Even if you try to bury pain with words, your field still broadcasts it, and that signal always finds its way back to you through new events, new people, and new situations. That's why the cycle doesn't break, because the vibration hasn't shifted. And here's where most people stumble. They push harder, work harder, intend harder, yet stay stuck, because the system reads alignment, not action. If your field is still tied to a past connection, even with a new intention, the result will be old. Quantum entanglement works silently here. If there's still an active link between you and your past, between you and someone else, between you and an event you thought you'd forgotten, reality responds from there, and you don't even realize it. You just ask, why did this happen again? But the question is the answer. You haven't resolved that frequency, recognized that tie, or understood you're carrying it into a reality that isn't yours. This is where transformation begins, when you see what you're connected to. The moment you realize it, choice enters. You no longer have to repeat the past or cling to vibrations that aren't yours, because the field can be rewired with awareness. This isn't just theory, it's a truth ancient teachings knew millennia ago, and modern science is only starting to grasp. When you change your vibration, the people around you shift, opportunities shift, events shift, because you're no longer the old you. That's why you don't need to say, "This is my destiny." You now see that even destiny may just be entanglement. And as it unravels, you realize what you called fate was actually a choice. Maybe unconscious, maybe a frequency passed down from family, ancestors, or your past. But now it's in your hands, and you're aware of it. And awareness changes everything. Remember Carl Jung's words, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate." What you don't see controls you. What you don't know repeats. What you suppress calls you back. Until you wake up, life feels like a script you didn't write. But with consciousness, you become both author and actor, and that's when transformation begins. You're no longer just reacting, but shaping your world. Once you look inward and recognize that vibration, you won't need to force external change, because you've already shifted, and quantum entanglement senses it. No one taught you to master quantum entanglement. You were just told to imagine it. You learned that visualizing something summons it, but that's incomplete, often wrong. If your frequency is still tangled in old bonds, imagining only pushes reality further away. When you picture a life but vibrate out of alignment, what you desire feels more distant. So it's not about imagination, but alignment. Mastering entanglement isn't about forcing the external, it's about reprogramming your inner space. This hinges on who you are, not what you want, because the field measures your vibration, not your wishes. And what defines you isn't what you say, but what you emit. So the first step is asking, what am I still attached to? Which emotion, story, or identity still holds me? Trying to create without clearing these is like shining light into muddy water. The image stays distorted. Mastering entanglement starts by seeing the mud. Observe yourself. Notice what you feel. Stand still. Don't fight it, but don't let it steer you. Study your vibration without judgment, because understanding neutralizes it. Neutralized energy can't control you. This is true creation, communicating with the field, not just through positive thoughts, but with your entire emotional system in sync. The field isn't a machine, it's intelligence, consciousness itself. Fight it, and it holds you in place. Align, and it transforms with you. Mastering quantum entanglement means staying awake within yourself, catching the echo in every encounter, the direction in every emotion, the pattern in every event. Reality is not trying to teach you something. It is reflecting your frequency. If you read this reflection correctly, there is no need to change it. It transforms on its own. This is not a mental effort, but an energetic grace. It's not about wanting more, but feeling more deeply. It's not about desiring more, but resisting less. That is why mastering quantum entanglement is about being awake to your own inner echoes, not the external world. What still governs you is what you're unaware of. But now you're becoming aware. And one who is aware is not just an observer of reality, but a consciousness that guides it. So here's what you need to know. To master quantum entanglement, you don't need to desire more, but to feel more. True transformation begins not in the mind, but in the field. The field responds not to what you say, but to what you feel. The first step is to look honestly at your own field. Whatever you've suppressed remains there. Whatever you haven't accepted vibrates there. Every emotion you silenced in the past now tries to return in a new form. This is where mastery begins, learning to feel without judgment, without suppression, without rushing to change it. Just allow it to be. Because every emotion you allow begins to dissolve, and every bond that dissolves separates you from the old reality. Many grow impatient here. They want change now, abundance, peace, love, clarity, instantly. But remember, external reality follows the inner field, and the inner realm doesn't shift without facing what you've suppressed. The second step isn't to cleanse the realm, but to reconcile with it. It's not about forcing it to serve you, but learning to listen. When you do, you realize the realm was always speaking. You just didn't understand its language. Every repetition is a message. Every crisis is a direction. Every pause is a threshold. These aren't coincidences. They're the field realigning with you. The third step is aligning with the field, not through mental intention, but energetic openness. Observe. Become silent. Listen to your body. Breathe into the constricted spaces. Because transformation starts where there's tension. If someone triggers you, there's an entanglement there. If an event brings the same emotion, there's an unresolved connection. When you notice this, it no longer controls you. Space resolves through awareness, not resistance. And as you release resistance, creation begins. True creation, not from fear, but essence. Not from force, but alignment. This is the fourth step, reprogramming the space. It's not about building a new personality, but remembering your suppressed essence. Not becoming someone new, but reclaiming who you truly are. Creation isn't about constructing from the outside, it's revealing what's already within. Your pure frequency carries everything. You just buried it under fears, habits, and past entanglements. Now, it's time to uncover it. Here's the final step: staying awake in the field. Old frequencies may return, where you've transformed. The field isn't testing you, it resonates with you. If old cycles resurface, don't fear it. It's not a setback, but a chance to realign. It asks, have you truly changed? Are you ready for this frequency? If so, write in the comments, I am ready to align with my new reality. This isn't just an intention, it's a call, a silent agreement with your field. And you answer it daily through your choices, feelings, focus, and even your silence. Because now, it's no longer your mind speaking, but your field. When you choose your new frequency over old reactions, that's mastery. You no longer see events, you see the frequency they carry. You stop fixing the outer world and keep your inner field aligned. Then reality shifts from a game of consciousness to a synchronous universe. Coincidences fade, replaced by synchronicities, a message at the perfect time, words from the right person, an unexplained intuition. These aren't accidents, they're the field speaking. And now, you're learning its language. You're no longer just a living being, you're a living field, a consciousness shaping through awareness, an entity that carries information through emotion, a center that shapes the universe through vibration. This is where creation begins, not outside, but inside, within you. And this is where creation begins, not outside, but inside, within you, right now. Because the field first flows through you, arising from your awareness, your silence, your vibration. The universe aligns with you here. You no longer need to seek signs outside, because your field has already begun to generate them. Synchronicities, intuitions, repeating numbers, hearing the same message from different voices. A word, a song, a glance that pulls you in. These are the language of the field. It's the conscious dialogue the universe establishes with you through your frequency. This conversation isn't logical, yet it's unmistakably clear. That's why you must feel, not analyze. Trust your intuition. When your mind asks, why now? Your heart answers, because the time has come. Intuition doesn't measure time. It recognizes frequency. And when the field aligns fully, intuition speaks. So stop resisting it. Don't dismiss it, because intuition is the bridge between you and your truth. As you cross it, the field expands. Ease enters your life. Events begin to guide you. You see that behind every coincidence, there's a perfect design. Most importantly, you realize you're not forcing things, you're aligning with them. This is inner flow, no struggle, no waiting, just readiness. And in that state, the universe responds effortlessly. You're no longer demanding answers, you're embodying them. Move with that vibration, and paths unfold, doors reopen, obstacles fade. Reality isn't against you, it resonates with you. Shift that resonance, and reality shifts too. Mastering quantum entanglement means this: actively, deeply collaborating with your field. Live knowing everything starts within you. Every emotion is data. Every moment, you can choose your frequency. You're no longer a victim or just an observer. You're a center of creation through vibration. When this center merges with the universal field, life transforms. In this new form, the past fades. Only the present remains, a present alive with new possibilities. You're no longer bound by old frequencies. You're aligning with a new reality, conscious, open, harmonious, ready. If this video touched something in your soul, subscribe to grow this space together. Comment, I am creating with my frequency, and feel the connection on this journey until we meet again in the next timeline.